Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do a step-by-step guide for a coordination kickoff meeting. Now, a coordination kickoff meeting is really important for when you're doing a design coordination or a construction coordination. It really helps the team understand what all the requirements are going to be of them, helps them get the contact information from each other, and just generally get on the same page before you start. Okay, so let's get into it. Prepare required documents. You're going to want to have your BIM execution plan ready. That's usually the first thing you do. The BIM execution plan is the contractual document that stipulates the requirements and responsibilities of each party involved in the coordination effort. Your VDC manager should provide a template for you. So yeah, this is the contractual document that everyone's going to be legally bound to, and you're not going to write this thing from scratch. So your VDC manager should provide you a template, and you're just going to alter it. You will likely need to add project-specific information such as location, type of build, contacts, area zoning, software versions to be used, and more. Again, it's really just going to depend on how your company structures its BIM execution plan. After you create the BIM execution plan, you're going to want to create the BIM schedule. The BIM schedule will lay out the expected timeline for the coordination, as well as key project activities such as foundation, excavation, and steel erection. There could be other milestones in there too, but typically these are the main ones. I'll do another video in the future on how to create a BIM schedule. Okay, pre-kickoff actions. The first thing you're going to want to do is review the project documents. This will help you better understand which trades should be involved in the coordination, as well as any project requirements that may call for additional focus or present unique challenges. So sometimes there's some unique aspects of a building where you're going to want to talk about it before you get started. An example of this could be, let's say you're doing an imaging center and it has an MRI machine in it. And MRI rooms need to have some lead shielding around it because of the radiation that they give off. And this shielding, it can't be penetrated by any conduit or anything. So you'll have a little window where you got to fit in all your conduit to serve the room. And this is something that people might want to know up front so they can make sure to have it in mind when they're designing their systems. You will also need to reference the documents to properly analyze the architect's model for discrepancies between the project documents and the model. This is known as model conditioning, and it's important because you want to make sure you get the architect's model accurate before everyone starts placing their systems in it. After you review the project documents, you identify the participants. Find out which trades will need to participate and identify who from their team will be involved in the coordination as well as their managers. Yeah, the managers are important, especially for the kickoff meeting, because you want to be able to get their contact info in case you need it later, and you want to make sure they're aware of everything that they're going to be expected to do. After the initial meeting, sometimes the managers will stick around, but sometimes they go. That's fine, as long as they're there for the coordination kickoff. The trades typically involved are plumbing, mechanical, electrical, fire protection, steel, structural, concrete, framing, and civil. There could be others depending on the needs of your building. You could have one for security or a separate trade for low voltage. There could be a special system in the building that needs to have a separate team. It really just depends on the project. The architect team will also need to be involved. This is important. You want to be able to let the architect team know about any issues that you might have found in the model conditioning. You also want to make sure to include anyone from your own organization that should be attending. This usually includes superintendents, engineers, and the construction manager. All right, then you're going to want to identify submittal status. An issue that can easily grind your coordination to a halt is the lack of approved submittals, which the trades will need in order to correctly model their systems. This usually includes equipment submittals, design documents, surveys, existing conditions, and civil, among others. I found that equipment submittals are ones that really tend to mess things up if they're not in. This makes sense. It's really hard to design systems when you don't even know exactly what kind of equipment's going to be involved. Talk to your team and make sure to understand any lead times on submittals so you can predict problems that might occur. Yeah, if these guys can't do their job because they don't have the proper submittals, then that's just going to stop things in its tracks, and you don't want that. Okay, now that you know the state of the documents, you're going to go ahead and set up the document management account. This is going to be like your BIM 360 or your Autodesk Construction Cloud, whatever your team is going to be using. A document sharing platform will be needed for the various trades to easily exchange important information. This is also where they will upload their models to be merged for the clash analysis. You should have individual folders for the architect in each trade, as well as a location for them to access the latest merged model. All participants should be added to the platform prior to the kickoff meeting, along with proper access permissions. This is important because right after the BIM kickoff meeting, a lot of times they'll just go straight to the document management account and get started. And if that's not set up yet, they're just going to do it later, maybe the next day. And a day lost of progress is a big deal when you're coordinating. So it's best to just have it ready to go. Also, keep in mind, It's very important to have a straightforward file structure and not to deviate from it. Yeah, you don't want people saying they couldn't find the files because you changed up the folder structure. We'll do some future videos on the different document management software that's out there. Then you're going to want to create the agenda. Make sure you have your agenda ready for the meeting. It should include the following: introductions, review of the project information, the BXP, the schedule, the document management process, a remodel review status, identify constraints, review clash analysis, and recap. We're going to go through each of these in a moment. Then you're going to select the meeting minute note taking method and prepare a template. Note taking is a crucial part of the coordination process. It is important to have your note template prepared with the participants' names, contact information, and meeting agenda. Contact information is especially important in the first meeting because some people just show up to the first one and then they don't come back. And sometimes you need to contact them later. So getting that information up front is really useful. So there's several options for note taking. You can use Procore, OneNote's good, you can even use Microsoft Word. They're all fine. Really the important part is just making sure you capture all the information. All right, then you're going to want to perform a preliminary clash analysis and an architect model conditioning. Some people skip this. I think it's super helpful to give everyone a head start. Performing a preliminary clash analysis and an architect model conditioning is extremely beneficial and will give the team a chance to identify potential issues ahead of time and get a feel for the quality of the model. This is also the best time to have the architect adjust any discrepancies between the model and the project documents. Once the coordination begins, it will be more and more difficult for the architect to make adjustments without causing rework for the other trades. Yeah, you want to make sure that the architect model matches the documents because you don't want the trades doing their coordination and then finding out later that the model was incorrect and then they got to do rework. Sometimes this can be a really big deal. It can really catch you by surprise. And if it requires a lot of rework, it can throw your whole schedule off. I'll do a future video on how to do the clash analysis and an architect model conditioning. Okay, after all that, you schedule the meeting. Once you've completed all of the above steps, you're ready to schedule the coordination meeting. Be sure to include all participants and attach the BIM execution plan, the schedule, meeting agenda, and the preliminary clash analysis and any issues found through the model conditioning. This way they have a chance to fix things ahead of time, and it's just another way to get a little bit ahead of the curve. A typical coordination meeting lasts about 2 hours. That's a good place to start. You can always adjust later if needed. Now to meeting agenda. First, you want to do some introductions. Introductions help the team understand who they're working with and the level of experience for each team member. This is also where the tone of the meeting is often set. An icebreaker is a good way to help the team get comfortable and familiar with each other. An icebreaker can be as simple as each team member talking about the projects that they've been involved in, and this could also serve to help people get familiar with their experience levels. The next thing you're going to do is review the project information. Review the basic project information, including its general description, type, location, and size. This is also a good time to discuss any unique challenges the project may present, like my MRI example from earlier. Then you're going to review the BIM execution plan. Review the entire BIM execution plan with the team and be sure to verify that everyone understands what the expectations are. Be sure to answer any questions the team may have. This is really important because the BXP is a contractual document and you need to make sure that everything is crystal clear. Now, the trades have a responsibility to review it in its entirety on its own, but this is a good time to answer any questions they might have. Next, you're going to review the BIM schedule. Review the BIM schedule and the process you will follow to complete the coordination for each area of the project. Make clear all milestones that drive the schedule and emphasize their importance. So you're going to want to explain in what sequence you're going to be coordinating the various areas. Maybe there's multiple buildings and you have an order in mind. Maybe you're going to go from the ground up. Maybe there's another element of the structure that needs to be completed first. You want to explain that, and then you also want to make clear the milestones, such as excavation. You need to let them know our excavation date is this time. We need to have everything underground coordinated by this time. And you also want to ask if there's anything that could possibly be preventing that. That's a good way to get buy-in on the schedule. Then you review the document management process. Again, this is your BIM 360 or Autodesk Construction Cloud. Review the document sharing and management platform you will be utilizing during the effort. Let the team know where they will upload their files and where the merged model will be stored. Once that's understood, you're going to review the trade model status. Find out how far along each of the trades are in their model creation and get commitments for when they will be completing each area. Some of the trades will be farther along in this than others, but for those who haven't started their model yet or maybe lagging a little bit behind, you need to get commitments for when that's going to be completed so they can be at the same page as everyone else. If for some reason a trade isn't going to be able to have their model ready, everyone needs to know that. Then you're going to identify constraints. Identify any possible constraints the trades might have. This may include submittals, staff availability, contract status, or any other obstacle that will prevent the team from meeting expectations. Now, if you check the status of the submittals before the meeting, you'll probably have a good idea of what some of these constraints could be. But there's always a chance there's something you missed. So make sure to talk with the trades and ask them if there's anything that's going to constrain them from getting their models completed. After that, you're going to review the preliminary clash detection. So you're going to review the preliminary clash analysis that you performed prior to the meeting. You don't need to go through every clash for every single system. You just kind of want to give them an idea of what's there, maybe zero in on some important ones that you found. But you do want to bring attention to any discrepancies between the architect model and the project documents. You want to get all those ironed out. As mentioned, once the coordination begins, it will be increasingly difficult for the architect to make adjustments without causing rework. Then, after that, you're going to recap. At the end of the meeting, you should recap any action items. This may include RFIs to be issued, submittals to be acquired, or any other action that was agreed to in the meeting. This is important to reiterate these so that the team understands and confirms their commitment. Yeah, recaps are really important. It just affirms what is expected from everyone and it gets an extra buy in to make sure it's crystal clear that they understand what they need to do. Follow up. After the meeting, you're going to upload the merged model into the document management platform. You need to make sure the team will have access to the merged model or any other documents you have agreed to provide. This should be done immediately after the coordination meeting. Again, after the meeting, a lot of times they'll just get right into it so they can get it done with, and you want to make sure that they have the files in order to do what they got to do. Then you're going to send the follow up email to all participants. A follow up email after the meeting is essential. Include the location of merged models, the next trade model submission deadline, and a PDF of the meeting minutes. You may want to include other information as well, depending on your team's needs. This email should be delivered immediately after you upload the merged model to the document management platform. Again, the reason this is in this order is so as soon as they get this email, they can go to the document management platform and it's there for them. Another thing to consider is scheduling a weekly RFI review meeting. I found this really helpful. RFI tracking and resolution is a significant part of your duties as a coordination leader. Even if the ball is firmly in the contractor's court, it will still reflect poorly on you if the coordination stalls because you did not make the effort to push for RFI resolution. Scheduling a weekly RFI review meeting with the construction engineers is a great way to keep tabs of the RFI progress and will minimize the chance of RFIs falling through the cracks. Keeping on top of all RFIs and their state of progress will also allow you to ask the necessary questions during the coordination meetings to push for a resolution. These RFI meetings can be between you and the construction engineers so that you can talk strategies and concerns without restraint. So yeah, the contractors don't need to be at this meeting. It's just between you and the construction engineers that are going to be handling the RFIs. Ideally, these RFI meetings should either occur the same day as the coordination meeting or the day after. You want to do it while the information is still fresh. And here's some best practices. If you don't know, ask. There's no risk in asking a question, but there's great risk in assumptions. If you're unsure about anything, be sure to ask. Coordination meetings are a fantastic place to learn from the various trades, and they're usually happy to explain their work and show off their expertise. You won't be bothering anyone with questions. Just ask. They know that you're not going to be a professional at every system that's going to be in the building. That's their job. Your job is to run the coordination meeting, and that means that you need to be able to ask questions. No one's going to fault you for that. Get commitments. It is very important to get explicit commitments from the trades for all actions required of them, no matter how small. These commitments need to be clear and without room for interpretation. When asking, phrase your question to solicit a yes or no answer. This can feel awkward at first, but you will be introducing tremendous risk if you do not do this. Yes, get commitments. Be respectful. There is no need for friction to achieve the coordination goals or to hold trades accountable for their commitments. Do not be afraid to push back on disagreements or to insist on getting a solid commitment. But in all circumstances, you should be respectful, fair, and level headed. If you find yourself having trouble with the trades reaching their obligations or stonewalling you, simply run the issue up the ladder to your manager and theirs. No coordination runs perfectly, but there's no reason to get bent out of shape of it. If something isn't moving along or someone isn't doing things as quickly as they need to do, just send an email. Don't be mean about it. Hey, this is what we need. It's not happening. It's going to cause a problem because of this. Thank you. It's as simple as that. Be prompt and consistent. As a coordination leader, it is expected for you to be prepared, consistent, and prompt with your replies and emails. Coordination is very time sensitive, and if you procrastinate, it can give the trades a valid excuse for not achieving commitments, and the blame will be on you. You don't want that. Yeah, answer your emails, get things to people that you say you're going to get them. Just do what you got to do it quickly, do it well, and no one will be able to point a finger at you. And lastly, but possibly most importantly, take detailed note. Note taking is extremely important for the coordination process. All commitments must be recorded. Any failures to meet commitments must also be recorded. All RFIs should be recorded in the notes as well. Any constraints, asks, or anything else that may affect the process must be recorded. The more detailed your notes are, the stronger your coordination effort will be. Yeah, take the best notes you can, and if for some reason you're having problem taking detailed notes while you're also trying to run the coordination meeting and answer questions, which can be the case when you're just starting out, just talk to one of the other engineers on your team. Explain to them, hey, this is my first time doing the coordination. I need a little help with the note taking. Do you mind if you take notes at the same time I do, and then we can compare it? You still want to take your notes, but this will help you have their supplementary notes. It'll help you capture everything a little bit better, and it'll also give you an idea of the quality that your notes should try to be at. And that's pretty much it. Hope you found it helpful. Just a little note, there is design coordination and there's construction coordination. This template was for construction coordination. Design coordination is pretty similar. It's just that instead of the trades, you're just dealing with the architect and their team. And there's a little bit less explanation maybe that you have to do. But other than that, the process is pretty much the same. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps. Good luck.
If you found this video useful, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to learn more about VDC and BIM, then click that subscribe button and notification bell. Thanks for watching.